Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a session that you probably have been looking forward to for a while, because when you come and attend one of these sessions, you probably have determined you want to do something to yourself, something good that will give you chances, give you opportunities, and possibly make you happier too, being able to contribute more. And the team that's here today from our department and to fabulous students will be, I think, giving you the information you need to make a decision which of the different pathways you can take to upskill, to learn, but more than that, to also network really well with people in a similar position that will help you to be successful. We have today Deetha and Mandy, and Connie was behind the scenes, and we have two fabulous students, Solo and Vikas, who will talk to you about what they experience every day, and they don't get any better grades if they talk well about us. They will just tell you what we do. And we are a department at Massey that does nothing else but deal with working adult level students. We don't do undergraduate teaching. We don't do any small, short courses. We only do professionals who want to upgrade. So everyone who works in our group has experience, knows what to do, and deals every day with students who have aspirations, who have goals, and to want to achieve great things. Talking about achieving great things, I'll turn this over to Mandy.
Kia ora, talofa, everybody. Absolutely fabulous to have you here. Massey University is known as partnering with students. We love to engage with students. We get to know their families. We get to know what they enjoy doing outside of study. And you can have confidence in us because the business school at Massey is in the top 2% of business schools in the world. Here are also some of the things on the slide that we do really well. We offer you flexibility. You've got lots of options with us, that the programs that we're going to look at tonight. You will be able to expand your knowledge within business, both in New Zealand and globally, with both these programs. And for those who haven't studied for a while, you know, the really cool thing, it's more like going to work than going to school. You know, we don't talk and chalk. We really engage you, and you can learn a lot from the people in the room. And they're the people who are actually on this call with you today. They might be in the room with you. You're going to learn a lot from them. And that's all part of the networking as well. So you will network with leaders here and overseas. You will engage with companies and with markets. So it will open your horizons to all kinds of cool things for the future. And we have globally recognised qualifications, which we'll talk about a little bit. This really is a pathway to a broad range of career choices for you. Often people are moving from specialist to generalist when they look at an MBA. And it's an opportunity also to move from operations to management, which is what the MBA does, and then from management to leadership, which is what the Executive MBA does for you. Okay, if we can just have a look at the next slide, please. This is the 5 C's. This is what our alumnus tell us the MBA and EMBA does for them. Now, today, our team was at graduation. We watched our MBA and EMBA students cross the stage. And as we did the march afterwards, I asked some of them what it was like to do the MBA and was it worth it? And these are some of the things that they said. So it's about knowing more. Obviously, we're going to teach you something. It's about being able to do more. Your capacity to be able to get things done is hugely increased. You're going to have the confidence to go and try more things, and you're going to be able to relate and network with a whole range of people that you might not have been, confident to do in the past. And then also you'll just have the courage to go and try new things and to be more successful. This is what it's all about. This is actually, we're talking about your success. So whether it's to try something new or to progress your career to a higher level, this is what an MBA and Executive MBA will do for you. All right, in the next slide, we're just going to talk about accreditation. This is the stamp that you need to know that it's quality. So AACSB is an elite business school accreditation out of the United States, and the Association of MBAs is a worldwide organisation that looks at MBA programs. Both of those, we have those accreditations for the maximum period that you can get, which is 5 years. So you really do have confidence in that. On the next one, rankings are important, especially if you come from overseas. So QS Rankings is a worldwide ranking, and you can see here that we draw some of our teaching staff from a top 100, a top 200 and a top 300 school within the Massey Business School. CEO magazine, also have a look at MBA programs, and we're in tier 1. And the MBA online is number 17 in the world, and our EMBA is number 25. So that's out of about 180 that they look at each year. And you have to kind of submit to get into these. So not everybody is on that list. So for Shanghai rankings, we are number 1 for business administration in New Zealand. So again, you have great confidence in what we can offer you. All right, so the next slide is really busy, hugely busy. And don't worry, don't panic, because you're going to get a copy of this. So, just kind of have it. It's just really to give you some differences between them, because it is quite hard to work out which one is right for you. So, you can see here there's a difference in the length of time. There's a difference in the number of courses and credits. One is fully online, one is face-to-face. One has students around the world, and one are just students from all over New Zealand. One focuses on management, the other on strategy, governance. One's really flexible, and the other, we're going to tell you where to be and when to be there. We're going to really structure it down for you. Specialisation's a big part of the MBA online, and for the EMBA, you get an affiliate membership to Governance New Zealand, because we're going to teach you so much governance, you're going to be right up there. MBA online 3 intakes a year. The EMBA only starts in February, but we have something really cool for you this year, where you can start the PGCERT in August, which are 4 EMBA courses, and I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. Action Learning Program, the project on online, and we have a global study tour and consultancy project in the EMBA. And then kind of like, how much experience do you need is the last one. Minimum 3 years for the MBA online, 7 years for the Executive MBA, and 3 of those need to be in management. So that's, you can see just on one slide some differences. So let's now just start talking about the Executive MBA. If you hear me talking, I'm Executive MBA. I'm the Executive MBA lady, and my colleague Ditha is going to talk to you about the MBA. So that might help you to focus if you're just worried about who's talking about what. All right, so if you're a middle or a senior manager, if you're a specialist wanting to be a generalist, or if you own your own business, an Executive MBA can be absolutely perfect for you. Already talked about what you might need from experience, and we do like you to have a degree. If you don't, you need to talk to us, because there are some pathways for you to enter with us. And the big thing about it is that the networking. You're going to be networking with experienced peers. And these people are going to come from every type of business that you can imagine. There's going to be SMEs, government departments, large corporates, not-for-profits, and they're going to be coming from all over New Zealand. This intake this year has quite a good agriculture group in it. A lot of people from farming. And so, but there's manufacturing, there's everything. And what that helps you to do is to look at problems from many different aspects. And that's the real goal of trying to help you have some tools in your toolbox. Diversity is really important for us. And you can see here that we have two classes, and they're both in Auckland every 6th weekend. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. Okay, let's have a look at the next one, please. Okay, so these are some of the things that you are going to learn from us and how you're going to learn them. We're going to engage a lot with business. We have guest speakers in all our classes, and they're going to come in and tell you what the real world is like for that topic. We're going to try and give you senior executive skills, and then there's a global component with the study tour, and then the themes run through there. So you can see digital transformation across cultures, sustainability, ethics, leadership, and governance. About 40% of the learning comes from the people in the class with you, your classmates, but the people that we come in to get to talk to you, and also your practitioner academics. That means those people have done the job that they're talking about. They're not just, they don't just have a PhD in it. They've actually worked in it as well. And some of the guest speakers that you have, people like Ross Buckley, the director of ASB, Anita Watson, who's the CEO of ANZ, and Don Braid, who's the managing director of Mainfreight. So those people are all going to come in and talk to you about what it's like in the business for certain aspects. So it's very intensive, it's immersive, it's in a block course nature. So you come in for a weekend and we bombard you with information, and then you go away and you start applying that straight away. And the thing also about that is we're going to start to really get to know you. Nowhere to hide in these classes. We're going to get to know you, and we're going to really start pushing your career forward. One of the things we do is the study tour. Just very briefly, I want to show you a picture of when the last time we went on a study tour, which was 2019. A group went to India and a group went to Argentina and Uruguay. And I think Solo will talk to you maybe for just a minute or two about her study tour experience and how that really does give you international exposure. It broadens your horizon and it actually gives you the opportunity of doing some consultancy work overseas. 2 countries, 9 days, and you work like heck while you're there and have just so much fun you can't even imagine that you didn't know these people before you went away on study tour. Okay, on the next slide, I'm going to talk to you about the PGCERT. So this is 4 courses of the Executive MBA. This allows you to pick 4 courses if you want to, but it also allows you to start now. So the next course is in August, which is Contemporary Strategy. So you can do that in August, and you can do Operations and Logistics in January, which is actually counted as 2022 because it's part of our summer school. So it gives you the opportunity of learning slowly. You know, you can slow down. It's not that intensive work. And then you'll do law in February and leadership and people in April. And then you can decide if you want to continue on to the Executive MBA or not. Or you can take a break and join us in 2024. And if you decide to carry on, we just take all of those 4 courses and pop them back into the EMBA because they're all EMBA courses. And then you do 4 more in 2023, 5 in 2024, and you graduate in 2025. So it's actually a really nice way of stepping in to your study. It's a really nice, gentle way in. And of course, you're going to join people who have already been studying. So they're going to give you lots of tips. They're going to have learned all that already. Okay, on the next one, we're just going to talk about what the EMBA looks like if you were to start in February of 2023. Here you can see that there are 8 courses. These are all the building blocks of business. And you can see here that the Albany course or the group and the Auckland Airport group actually are offset. Same courses, but offset. We get you together for law, so you get to know each other. You do 3 in your own cohort or group, then you come together for contemporary strategy, and then you go off and do the next courses separately. That last one, number 8, portfolio, has a little asterisk. That means you don't need to come into class. So that one is done from home. So if you are a fly-in, fly-out student, for example, at Auckland Airport, you fly in to come to class by 10 o'clock on a Saturday. You work late into Saturday, you come in on Sunday, and you leave at 4:30 and fly home. So you would come up to Auckland Airport only 7 times in the first year. You know, that's hardly any. And we tell you well in advance of when that is. So you get all those cheap flights. So it's great. It's great. And it's right at the airport. So you really just walk across to the Novotel. All right. And at Auckland and Albany, they are 8:30 to 5:30 Saturday and Sunday. So they get to go home early, but that's okay. That's okay. Right. So just remember the EMBA focuses on strategic leadership, and it's all about learning the language of business. So that's what we're going to help you with. The second year is all around taking those learnings that you've got and pulling it all together. So it's all about governance and responsibility, and you're actually going to sit on some boards with that course. So major boards, it's a new initiative that we've got, fantastic exposure to how a board runs. And then you'll go on your study tour with strategic management and international business. Then you'll do a portfolio at home, and then we'll teach you how to research, and then you'll do your research project, and poof, you're done. 240 credits, great value for money. And at the end of it, you're going to be an affiliate member of Governance New Zealand, which is actually a worldwide organisation on governance. And so that's going to be really perfect for you. So the class sizes are relatively small. The average age is 41, but that ranges from 29 to 59. The work experience, 7 years to 40 years. Management experience, 3 years, which is the minimum, right up to 28 years. And you can see down the bottom there that 70% of people have got an improved role 1 year on from their EMBA. Most change their jobs, actually. Nearly half change their jobs while they're still studying. I can never understand that myself, but they can do more, you see, and they want to be stretched more, so they go and change their jobs. And then after 3 years from graduation, 98% have an improved role, and the rest usually start their own business. So they have confidence to go out there and try something new. So it's really exciting for them. On the next one, we're going to talk about the investment. So the investment's $43,600, and there are just some tuition fees in there. We say approximate because the fees do change. So these are the 2023 fees, but we're not sure what the 2024 ones are. It is included in there. Worst scenario is what we're talking about here, and it's covered by student loan. You do need to allow $7,000 for the study tour because we're going to take you away and expose you to amazing things. But you do also need to know that the textbooks and the study materials are covered with that cost. Also know that last year 13 scholarships were issued to our students. That's MBA and EMBA, and we're going to let you know about those as they come up. So there are opportunities for funding, and you just need to be aware of them. Follow us on Facebook and we'll let you know about those. And if you work or have worked for the New Zealand Defence Force, also contact us because there's a 30% discount, or if you have an affiliation with them. So just bear that in mind for those who are looking at that. And the next slide is fantastic because this is where I'm going to introduce Solo to you. She's going to talk to you. She's one of our alumnus. I just love her to death, and she's currently in Wellington. So let me pass you over to her.
Talofa lava. Thank you, Mandy, for inviting me to be part of this evening. It's an important evening for many of you, and like Yen had said, it's congratulations, you're here, which means you've taken the extra step from just thinking about it to doing something about it. My work is in primary healthcare. We all have our self-doubts, and we all have in our minds that we may not be good enough to undertake, such a qualification, or you might not have enough credits, or, your pre-qualification might not fit the curriculum. One of those things that also plays in your mind when you're thinking of taking a step is how you're going to manage, because it's full-time studies as well as full-time work. So with a baby, at 2 years, it came down to a family decision. So it wasn't just for me to decide on my own. I had to consult with my husband, who was like my biggest supporter, to be able to give me that extra push to say you can go and do this. And so left him to be the chef, the taxi driver, the teacher, and everything, while I focused on pursuing my EMBA. And so I studied for 2 years full time, and worked full time as well, which also saw me, I think it teaches you many things during that time. They talk about time management, but you just step it up another level. And they also tell you that, you build resilience. You definitely do at this job, because at this time, because you're juggling. Skipping through to diversity, there's no judgment, and the room, like Mandy had said, there was a host of experience of professionals inside the room. We're talking from directors, we're talking from business owners, people that work at corporate, and then I'm from community level, and all of our experiences was so good to be shared across, and really helped us and we learned a lot from each other as well. The study tour, we got to travel to Chile and South America. Such a great experience. And the people that you're only studying, so I chose the airport cohort, even though I lived in South Auckland. I didn't want to cross the harbour bridge and go over to Albany, so I chose that. And the people that you start with, you finish with, and it's such a you build like a whānau support, even so much so that when I moved down here to Wellington, and I work at the Ministry of Health now, some of my peers who were from Wellington were offering for me to come and stay with them when I first, made the move. So, you build really good relationships, solid relationships. You build a really great network as well. I still keep in touch with many of my peers that we study together, reach out when I need support with, whatever, and also transitioning from leaving my job that I started my EMBA with to moving to government work. You learn to present. You learn so many skills through interacting in this group. And the doors that it opens as well. I can't even begin to account, because we still talk with some of my peers. There's so many opportunities that's open. And for me, it gave me the confidence to also look beyond what I was doing at the time. It was great. I got up to exec level, but, for me, there's more that I can go into. And currently talking about starting a consultancy, business as well with a couple of colleagues. And it just really empowers, it enhances your skills, and opens a lot of doors.
Right now, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Ditha, and she's going to talk about the MBA.
So today we're going to talk about the MBA, and let's start by talking about you. If you are someone who's looking to manage a new job as an emerging or mid-level manager, someone who's trying to see, how do I take my business to the next step? What do I do in my career to take that next step? Or someone who's just looking to learn more, just to grow in their career and to understand how they can make innovative business solutions, decisions with a full plate. The MBA is the right program for you. And this is really because you almost immediately start implementing the learnings that you've got in your everyday life, in your professional and personal life. The skills, the knowledge, the information that you get in the MBA is so relevant that you find that you can relate to it almost immediately, and you can then go in and implement it also almost immediately. With the MBA, we also have an environment of practical learning, applied learning, not only a traditional way of learning where you only learn from your lecturers or your teaching staff, but also where you're learning from experts from the markets, where they come in, talk to you about the way they have got to where they are today, the way they have influenced change in their careers, in their organizations. And you also learn from people in the class. So you're constantly learning from everywhere and all around learning that you get. So now I'm sure you all want to know what a typical MBA class looks like. And on the next slide, we're just going to look at what this really looks like. So it's about 20 to 35 students in a class. You got equal parts women and men in your class. You got an average age of 37, but that ranges from about 25, it goes up to 60s. It's of course never the wrong age or the wrong time to learn. And you've got an average work experience of about 11 years. Now, again, that ranges from a minimum requirement of 3 years, and that goes up to about 25 years as well of work experience. So again, really rich experience in the class there with you. And remember, we don't ask for a specific degree when you're joining the MBA. So that, again, influences the diversity that you see in class, and the people that you're in class with come from backgrounds from medical and education and IT, all bringing their own different diverse thoughts into the class and enriching your learning. And of course, we've got people come in from the UK and US and logging in from South Africa. So again, really growing that global aspect as well of the MBA. So let me talk to you a little bit about what the program really looks like. So we've got 10 courses that you need to do as part of the MBA program, or 180 credits. And we understand that this is a journey that sometimes you find yourself, find asking yourself, why am I here? Why am I doing this? So we prepare you from day one. We're always here, and we always like to support and see you succeed. So with orientation itself, we give you the tools, the information that you need to prepare yourself for this journey. And then you go into the 6 core courses, really giving you that all-round picture of business. And then you have an opportunity to do your specialization courses. Now, as an online MBA student, your choices would be digital transformation or global business, or you can do an MBA without a specialization. And as a full-time student, your choices are business sustainability or global business. Of course, you can do an MBA without a specialization in that mode as well. And then you get an opportunity to really put all of that learning into practice. So right through the program, we of course encourage you to apply your learning, but really in part 2, we give you the opportunity to get your hands dirty. So with your first part 2 course, you go into that strategic part of business, understanding from business leaders themselves about how they have made those critical business decisions or made, innovative business ideas that they've come up with. And then you take all of that learning into this exciting work experience course that you've got, which is the action learning project. And that's your opportunity to really work, interact, discuss with business leaders, find a business problem, and then really get at it and get them a business solution that is workable. So really exciting, constantly moving, constantly learning new things in different, innovative, authentic ways with the MBA. So today we're going to focus on the online MBA. And on the next slide, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about what the online MBA is about. This is one of our most flexible programs that we've got on offer this evening. It is designed to be a part-time program and designed for students who are working full-time while studying part-time. So that really, gives you that opportunity to self-pace your study, choose a day, a time in the day to kind of get your studies going. But this is not really the traditional boring, open a book and read an article kind of study here. We've got videos, we've got gamifications, we've got activities, just fun ways to get that learning going and just get you interact with the content as much as possible, all of which is available to you 24/7 while you're studying with us. You're also, of course, able to, incorporate your learnings really easily because you're pulling from work into study and then taking back from study almost immediately back to work. You might find something at work where you think, oh, that's a good discussion with my study group for tomorrow. Or when you're having a discussion, you say, oh, that's a really good way for me to tackle this business problem that I'm looking at. So this constant cycle that you see through your journey in the MBA. And of course, the online MBA is, again, part-time flexible, which means you have up to about 2 to 3 contact hours per week per course that runs over 7 weeks in total. And these are contact hours where you need to log on to Zoom, most of which is outside of working hours in the evenings for about 2 hours on a weekday, approximately. Then we've got our next intake starting in July, but we've got 3 intakes in the year, March, July, and November. So hopefully I get to see some of your applications come through for the July intake that's just around the corner. I'm sure you're all now going to ask me, okay, so what's the investment? How much do I need to pay? And the investment, like we like to rightly call it, because over the years, I have seen so many of our students get almost immediate returns on investment with the MBA, where they're able to take learnings and go into work almost immediately. With the domestic online MBA, your fees would be 44,000 New Zealand dollars. And this, of course, includes all of your textbooks and reading and study material that you need. For the MBA only, we've got awards on offer. They are automatically assessed at the time of your application. They're 3 of $2,000 each, 1 for a high GPA, 1 for 5+ years of work experience, and 1 if you've got an existing master's. And of course, they're accumulative, so you can get up to $6,000 adjusted against your fees. And of course, we always like to recognize and reward academic performance or just excellence on its own. And the Wiley Prize of about $1,000 is available. Again, we give it out to academic performance and excellence at the end of your online MBA. So lots of recognition, lots of prizes, lots of ways that you can help with your fees. And of course, you can also apply for StudyLink for your fees. Now, talking about excellence, we've got a student here with us who's kindly given us some time from his busy schedule. Vikas started with us in the online MBA in July 2020, and he's almost there, almost at that finish line. And he's here to share his journey and his story with us so far. So thank you so much for being here this evening, Vikas, and over to you.
So just reflecting back, great. I'm in sales, I travel a lot. I can't go to a class. I can't just, commit to 1 day a week and have to go to my lecture and so on. So I started Googling, and amazingly, the MBA online popped up for Massey University. And the most amazing thing is that most universities, if you contact them, you kind of hear something after a few days or a week or so. But I got in touch, and Ditha pretty much got in touch with me the next day. I linked up with Jens. And within a few days, I was able to make my application and get right in. And for me, that was absolutely amazing because there were no barriers for me. So like, I wanted to do something, there was that solution, and just automatically those barriers were broken down for me and I could enroll. Pretty much there is weekly classes which you can go online, and there's no, you do it remote, and you don't have to be in a lecture, you can be anywhere in the world pretty much. Another thing is that the lecturers themselves are experts and ex-CEOs. So you're not just learning from someone that's theoretical, you're learning from actual experience that have felt what management, people in management feel, and all the pains and the gains. And you really get a good idea of their stories and how you can actually reach out to them to get more in your life. So for me, also the platform was a massive, a great place because you don't actually have to buy any textbooks. So in my bachelor's, you'd have to, save up money, go buy textbooks, and then barely read through them all. So with this, the platform actually has everything you need. Any click, it's got the information. If you get trapped, you email Ditha, she'll guide you in the right direction. So it's actually an amazing system. So some of my highlights from this is that, some of the lecturers that I met, you made really good networks and pretty much a wealth of knowledge that they've spent 30 to 40 years in an industry, and I've got the opportunity to learn from them in such a short time, and that was quite meaningful. Also, like Ditha said, that you meet people from all sorts of the places of the world. So I now have a friend that's a medical doctor. I now have a friend that's a chief technology officer for a finance company. So without the MBA, I would never have been able to network and do that. And also the return of investment part, which is the most important part. So for me, as I joined, within about 2 to 3 months, a recruiter had got in touch with me and offered me about a $30,000 pay rise to go and start managing a territory in a scientific industry. So for me, that was amazing because that was a direct jump into something that I wanted to do. After a year, one of our marketing managers had left the company, and I sent an email to the operations and sales manager. And I said, hey, when you interview and get a new marketing person, do you mind just asking them a few questions about this framework? And then they emailed me back and said, well, you seem to know quite a bit. Why don't you apply? And fair enough, I applied. I don't have much marketing experience besides little bits here and there in sales. So I got in touch with one of our marketing lecturers, Dr. McRae, and I had a session with him, and that was pretty amazing because it was a one-on-one session, coaching session pretty much. And he took out his time to guide me through. And he asked me the questions. He told me what a marketing manager should ask, all these questions, and pretty much all that knowledge I took to the interview, and I literally wowed everyone, and I got the job right away. The MBA has really taken me where I wanted to go.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Vikas. I think it's always so lovely to hear stories and just the journey because it's so relatable. So thank you. I'm going to move on, and I'm just going to hand it over to Professor Jens Müller.
Thank you, everyone, for being so patient, and thank you all for participating. There are usually 3 thoughts that cross your mind when you think about going to university. One is, why on earth would I do this? And the second is, why this MBA? Can I actually succeed, or will I fail? And will that then get me upset, and will that waste money? And the third, why Massey? So the first point, no one ever wakes up in the morning and says, today I will start going to university. It doesn't really happen that way. But what you see is that with your work experience, you expect that the next promotion, the next job is yours when you apply. And you have all hopes when you go into the interview. And then somebody with a lot less work experience and an MBA, a master's degree, will rush by you and grab that job. And that really upsets you. And this is going to get worse because we see grade and certificate and graduate inflation where boards, CEOs, and hiring people want to see a tertiary, a master's qualification, mainly to also protect themselves when they hire you into a leadership role that later on nobody can say, how could you? So an MBA is one of the more generic, general degrees, and that is important to you when you look for a future job and leadership, because you can't tell right now whether in 5 years or 12 years or 15 years, you will be in a specific industry or not. And if you can't quite tell, like with a lot of numbers, what will be the winning career for you, you want to hedge your bets and you want to be as generic as you can come, because with an MBA, you are involved in so many different topics that you have good credentials to get into different types of jobs. The next question is that many of you, I can see a couple of gray hairs here, which I think is perfect, will not have been at university for a while. And universities are not known to be the most customer-friendly environments. We have rules for everything, and we certainly are a big institution, and nobody wants to deal with that. So the question is, can you actually win this? Can you do this right? And I've run MBAs and taught MBAs for nearly 40 years, and I can, on two hands, for that whole period, count the number of people who fail. We select carefully. We accept fewer than 1/3 of people who apply. And we make sure that the people that come into a class are the right people. You really have no chance to fail unless you work harder on failing than on passing, because this is a train that only has one stop, and that is your degree. You don't have to pick any courses. We tell you what to do. You don't have to pick any groups. We tell you what to do. And the next stop that this train takes is that you graduate, walk the stage like today our students did, and have your qualifications. So this is intended to be for working adults, people who have a demanding career, who have family, you may even have some friends left at the end of this, and you will end up being able to schedule this quite easily with your other requirements. You will win this if you do what we tell you to do. And the very last question is, why would you pick Massey? Some of you aren't anywhere near Auckland, and not really a big deal with online or flying in. We are about the only university in the country that not only has a 240 credit executive MBA, but that teaches practically. I've run billion-dollar firms for many years, and I hire the people who will teach in this program, and all of the people that teach are hired in specifically for the task. Quite a few are not academics at our university. They are experts in the professional field in which they teach. They fly in from different parts of the country and they spend a weekend with you, or they come online. They are here to tell you what they do, not what they read. And this is not going to be death by PowerPoint with a million PowerPoints that somebody reads to bores you to death in the first 5 minutes. This is a discussion much more like managers and CEO in a boardroom than students and professors in a classroom. It is practical. It is exactly like at work. It is outcome driven. You're not going to stand there and pontificate. You're going to solve problems. You're going to be a consultant. You are going to find ways to make companies better places in which to work and where achievements are higher rated. You are going to walk away every Monday morning with a new idea after you had a weekend class, and you're going to put that into action. It is an applied program. It is highly accredited, and we're whatever 260, 270 in the world or so ranked. We work hard on those rankings. We publish and we do all the academic stuff. But in the MBA and the EMBA, it is the applied portion, how we actually get you to profile yourself as somebody who can communicate well, who understands leadership, who can form great teams, and who has the sense to sniff out good opportunities for which you then get that job. This is something that if you have worked for 10, 15, 20 years, 5 years, 12 years, you can do. You just have to do what we tell you to do, exactly like your boss does at work. On that happy notice, I go back to my boss, Mandy. It's all over to you.
I wish. So look, some of you are probably sitting here going, look, there's no way I can do this. You know, you've got a bit of imposter syndrome if you're here and thinking, you know, that maybe this isn't right for you. Look, please don't be worried about it. This is a journey that we support you all the way through, as Jens has said. So the university itself has amazing support networks. The Centre of Learning Success, you can put in an assessment and they will critique it for you and send it back, and you can then make changes and then upload it for it to be graded. I mean, you know, seriously, they are giving you every opportunity for success All the other things are there. Obviously, ITS support's really important. The Career Centre has got the most incredible resources to try and help you with your career, and that includes people in executive situations. They've worked with us quite a lot to improve that. You also need to know that our academic staff know that there are people in the room who have never been exposed to the topic they're trying to teach you. And so they are going to move you from 0 to masters. And they're going to push you and pull you and cajole you and give you a kick up the rear end if you need it to get you to where you need to be. You obviously have to work hard, but we're going to get you there. There's an online platform that you can go on your phone, on your iPad, on your laptop, anything. The Career Accelerator is an amazing program for both the MBA and the EMBA. It's tailored for our students. It is to move you on in your career. And so we're also going to help you with executive interviews, very different from any other interview, an executive interview. And so we're going to put you in front of people who can help you with that. If you want to enroll for the Executive MBA or the postgraduate certificate, if you would like to start that now, then all you need to do is send your CV to me, and my email address is mba@massey.ac.nz, and I am going to support you through that process one-on-one. If you are interested in the MBA, then you need to go online. So you'll go to massey.ac.nz/study MBA, and there's a link there that you can take to upload your material because it's online.
Solid. Would you like to talk to us a little bit about what a typical day looks like when you were doing the Executive MBA, and how you manage time with family and study and work?
Once you start, just commit yourself to putting aside an hour or two of your day just to read up and start working. Your routine changes because you're now factoring in your studies. And so that's what I did. I had told my family that I'll be late home because I used the office space. Thankfully, they were really supportive of my journey. So I told work that it was quiet enough. And so I used that time after 5:30 to continue on in the office. It had good lighting. I had access online, and then went on to do my reading and things like that. So just factoring in, knowing that you're going to start this journey so that, it doesn't add up when you miss or a deadline or you're required to work. All those little deposits of your time commitment will pay out. I think I only asked for one extension throughout the whole time I studied because of that sort of mindset.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Mandy, we've got a question here about the Executive MBA. For the EMBA, is the minimum management experience people management only, or does program or project management also count?
Oh, definitely. So it's very holistic in the term management. So if you've managed a program or a work flow, then you're eligible for that period as well. You need to be independently working, obviously. You're not going to be micromanaged by someone to be looking at that. So all management for us. So if you have any questions, just come back to us and we'll be able to help you in that area too to clarify.
Excellent. Thank you, Mandy. Jens, would you be able to help us with the assessment question? Just a little comparison between assessments on both programs and how that looks different or similar.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And the first part to think about is that we have no exams in either of the two programs. We don't send you into a room with a pencil and a piece of paper and then squeeze you for 2 hours. That's just not clever, and we haven't done that for years. What we do is that in the assessments of each course, you have a problem to solve, you have a practical task to do, you work on a company with their problem, you work on something that the course brought up. It is usually that you would have one, maybe two individual assignments that you do, and certainly at least one group assignment. And look, that's good news because not everybody is really hot on accounting. And if you aren't hot on accounting and it kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies, then you have somebody in the group probably who is better than you. And then the next group, you may contribute something where you are stronger. So the assessments are practical, they are applied. And look, if you put the time in that is required to understand the topic. If you click along well during the class, then you can absolutely manage those assessments quite well. They are very similar to things that you would do at work, where your manager asks you to contribute to a problem, to solve an issue. And that's exactly what you're going to do in class.
Excellent. Thank you, Jens. There's a question here about the contact time for the online MBA. So I'm just going to start off. With the online MBA, you need up to 2 hours that you would log on to Zoom per week for each course. A course runs for 7 weeks. So that's 2 hours every week for 7 weeks, and then you complete that course. They're all via Zoom. The timings are usually, for example, 6:30 to 8:30 on a Wednesday, or 7 to 9 on a Thursday. They usually run Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. We do pick Mondays and Fridays again. And sometimes we also ask you, of course, about your choice.
There will be quite a number of people in the group here tonight who have a good functional career. You are a specialist in a health career, in engineering, in accounting and architecture, whatever, but you've realized that you want to go further than just practicing in your relatively narrow career. And the way to kind of spray paint you to be more general is an MBA or an executive MBA, and especially in health, in finance, in engineering, in areas where you've learned one thing and practiced that well, to then run a practice, to then run a business, to merge, to acquire, to grow, or to go into a different applied career. You need the ability to look beyond your narrow profession, and that's exactly what the MBA is there for.
There was one question on a thesis for both programs.
Perfect. The last course in both programs is a course where you don't come in at all. We assign you a supervisor, or you work online, where Vikas is doing that right now, where you have a corporate client, a real company. That company comes to us and is looking for help. You become a consultant at a very high strategic level, board level, owner level, and you take on, in Vikas's case, a quite tricky problem where a person wants to start a new business, doesn't have the right skills, and Vikas and his group are in the unenviable position to have to tell that person that, no, you can't do what you want to do, but we recommend you do something different. Imagine a consultant who comes in and says, no, you can't do what you want to do, slap, 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 but you can do something different. Very tricky, very challenging, and of course, all based on data, on market research, on external information that gives you the authority to then give advice. In the executive MBA, it is a 3 to 5 month process where you can pick any idea that you want to explore, whether that is for your firm to do something meaningful, divest a part of the company, buy another company, expand, go global, conquer Uruguay, whatever you want to do. And you will then, together with a supervisor, one-on-one assigned to you, create a fairly substantial consulting report. It can also be about your own career. Do I want to start my own business? Do I want to go in with a couple of friends and have a napkin doodle of a new invention, and I want to turn this into something commercial? It has to be meaty. It can be for a not-for-profit. It can be for a government organization. What we're after is to give you a chance to take your experience, to take the learnings, and to then look around you and see, where can I apply that meaningfully with real value? And so the last course brings it all together. It's terribly exciting. And we then also help you to publish that. So to the extent that it's not so full of proprietary, commercially sensitive information that we'd have to blank everything out, you will publish that in a journal. That means that you will have author's credit on your CV. And that is something that no other program really does. And we want to make sure that on your CV, you look incredibly special when you go out and look for a job.
But for now, just before we open the breakout rooms, I'm going to hand it back to Professor Jens.
Tanakoto, and thank you very much for joining us tonight. These are decisions that you probably make from hanging up the Zoom call and walking over to the kitchen or wherever there's a glass of wine or a beer waiting. You probably have already made the decision that you got to do something. This is what you want to do. And it's probably just that last little oomph to make sure that you contact Mandy and Deetha. and take it further. We want you, if you want to better yourself, because that is what we do for a living, and we will absolutely be with you. We will help you, and we will make sure that you will be on stage, family watching, with a master's qualification, something quite special that will set you apart for a career to come.